Unlike my fellow presenters, I'm not forwarding one thing because I am not a concise person, but I guess what I am forwarding is context to a really formative period for cinema and music in the region. So Arab Jewish contributions to Southwest Asia, North Africa, case study Jews in the golden era of cinema and music. So Arab Jewish contributions prior to the mid-20th century to the Sawana were rich. They were merchants, craftsmen, musicians, artists, entertainers, and intellectuals. In this presentation, we will be looking at Arab Jews' contributions to cinema and music. So the conflation of Jewish and Zionists increasingly became a reality, particularly after the first Arab-Israeli War, and this guy right here, the Balfour Declaration. This compounded with the prevailing systematic discrimination against minorities at large, which deteriorated conversations around Jewish contributions to the region. So the golden era of cinema and music, also referred to as tarab, was at its peak in the 40s and 60s. The cinema in Egypt was the largest in the world and the largest in the region. And because it was the largest in the region, many people from different parts of the Arab world would go and go to Egypt to contribute to it, whether it be in cinema or to the surrounding circle of theater and music clubs. So the first person we're going to talk about, and that many people know, but don't know that she's Jewish, is Layla Murad. So Layla Murad was dubbed the Cinderella of cinema. She was a singer and actress, one of the most prominent names of the golden era. She was born Lillian Zaki Murad Mordechai to a Jewish family in 1918 in Cairo, where she came from a large family of artists. So her father, Zaki Murad, Ibrahim Zaki Murad Mordechai, was a composer and singer, and her brother, Munir Murad, who we will be talking about later, born Maurice Zaki Murad Mordechai, was a composer, as aforementioned. Layla was trained by Dawood Hoshni, an amazing composer we will also be talking about in this presentation, and her father. And Dawood Hoshni actually produced two of her most famous songs. So Layla was trained by her father and Dawood Hoshni, as I mentioned. Sorry, that's a duplicate. And she was discovered by the great Abdul Wahab, actually. And he's like, if anyone knows a composer from the region, it was him. And she was discovered by him and featured in his first movie, Yahya al-Hub, Viva la Ghamor, or Long Live Love in 1938. She was about 20. And from then on, this marked about a decade of great success for her. And I'm gonna play like 15 seconds of the song that he composed and she sings in the movie. Can you guys hear it? Okay, great. I would play the whole thing, but just to be mindful of time, we have to move on. Sorry, guys. So following the success of this movie, she went on to make 5 best-selling films, which I'll mention another one later on. And all of these films were actually directed by the Egyptian Jewish director, Togo Mizrahi, who's right here on the right-hand corner. Layla Murad retired at the age of 38 after 20 years of like monumental success. And the reasons have been speculative, so we won't entertain those here. But what we do know for sure is that she left behind a powerful legacy of 27 films and nearly 1,200 songs. So Munir Murad, the aforementioned brother of Layla Murad, he was a pioneer of Arabic dance music. He acted in 24 films. No, he acted in a few films and assisted as director in about 24 films. And here's a really cute picture of him and Layla. He was born in 1922 and he gained popularity as the main composer of Shadia's lighthearted songs. So she's pictured to his left. And he's the man you went to for dance numbers, hence why there's these legends listed across the top. He developed and composed much of Egypt's most famous dance music and composed for performances by the leading dancers. And here from left to right, it's Tahia Karioka, Samia Gamel, and Naima Aikif. So here I'm going to play one of his compositions and dance numbers, and where he's actually singing This Is Rare, and Samia Gamal is dancing. And I think this just really embodies like who he was as a person. He was like a fun character, and there were things that I read online that he was just a really fun person to be around. Okay, so moving on. Oh, sorry. How do I do that without pressing that? Oh, there we go. Okay, so moving on to a more serious person, Dawood Hoshni. Dawood Hoshni was born David Haim Levy, and he was a prolific composer who is said to have composed the first opera in the Arabic language, Shamshun Mudalila, Samson and Delilah. He was born in 1870 in the Jewish quarter of Cairo. Hosni went on to play a defining role in the music of the region, introducing maqams, modes, and rhythms that have their origin in Turkish Persian music. He worked and composed for greats like Kulthum and Esmahan, and of course, as I mentioned before, the Layla Murad. And if you think about it, particularly with Esmahan, she was a foundational person to bring in operatic intonations into the music of the region. So it makes a lot of sense why he was you can hear that he was the composer in a lot of these songs. So I'm gonna play a clip from a song he composed for Kulthum. It was one of her early songs, and you can hear it in her voice. Her voice was much younger, and this is not an hour-long song, which, not in Kulthum fashion. And it's called Jannat Naim, Paradise of Blessings. Okay, just mindful of time, we have to move on. I wish I could play all of these for you. So break. While it is true that Egypt was the epicenter of cinema and music at this time, there were still artists who embodied the characteristics of the era in style and discipline that were active elsewhere in the region. And while I wish I could mention a plethora of people, I had to pick one, and it's probably because she's my favorite. So Salima Murad, or Salima Murad Besha. She was born in Iraq and is sometimes referred to as the voice of Iraq, Baghdad. She was born in 1905, and little can be verily ascertained about her life. There are some accounts that say she worked in a brothel, and that's how she came to be discovered. But what we do know is that her voice was praised so much, and to the extent that she was given the title of Besha from the Iraqi Prime Minister, Nouri al-Said. And Besha's kind of like being dubbed a lord in the UK, if I had to equate it to something. We also can ascertain that she was married to the legend Nazim al-Ghazali, a renowned vocalist and composer from Iraq as well. And so while I was like digging on the web, and like, because there's little known about her, I found this amazing clip of a song that I think really, really captures the gravity of her voice. And I couldn't attach it to this, but I put the link there for you. So if you guys can like copy that and listen to it. And I'll play you about 10 seconds of one of her most famous songs, which is Heda Mush Unsaf Minna. Oh, sorry. How did I do that? Okay. So moving on, you can read more about Jewish history and cinema and music in these two links here. Joel Benin writes extensively on art in the MENA region, and he has an amazing chapter dedicated to just this era, which I've linked over here. And to end us on a little light note, oh no, I don't know how this got so big. But anyway, this is the movie poster for the song that I'm gonna play here. It's called Ghazl al-Banat, roughly translates to flirtation of girls, and it stars legends, so Layla Murad, Abdul Wahab, Naguib al-Rahani, who was dubbed the father of Egyptian and Arabic comedy, and Anwar Wagdi, who was Layla Murad's husband for a while. So I'll just play 15 seconds of that. So it's a super fun song and a super fun movie, and the song is called Dunya Ghinwa for anyone who wants to go listen to it, which means life is a song. And life is a song, friends, even though we're in COVID times. And yes, thank you guys so much for listening to me speak about something I'm very passionate about.